Oh, the global beta is pretty much ongoing, and it's coming to a close relatively soon. Pretty much, this was like a staging beta. I believe the SEA beta had like much more in depth to it, because I believe it was like a rebate beta, where if you spend right, it like rebates you the money. I don't know why global didn't do that. There's many thought processes on why they didn't do that, but we don't care about that. Let's just say this was like a testing beta to check the servers and check how the player base went. I would say that it was very poorly managed because they held it open. So I made my video like 3 or 4 hours before they ended it when I talked about how to download the beta, because they opened it up for literally like 6 hours and they didn't tweet about it, they didn't do anything like that. So their marketing for the beta was horrific. It was just like the 200 people in their Discord or whoever joined the Discord from that time frame. So like nobody got in, and then they capped it so quickly. I don't even know how many players got in. That's kind of the case, but today, minusing all of that, let's talk about what it was here and raids and such and pity and such and that, so you're at least aware on how the summoning system works. In the beta, there's multiple different banners. There's the limited characters banner over here, Protector's Resolve. There is the limited banner over here as well, which is like in I don't know if you play like TSH and games like that. They have like cards and such that are attached to the character that like power them up. If you are trying to like max a character, this is going to be the requirement, because like for example TSH, that game back then, how they did it was it's like an extra effect or an extra ability or an extra lengthen of an ability. For example, like there was a character, let's just say Deku, right? Attaching this would make his whatever quirk last longer and such, right? Depends on how the character is structured, but it also works in many different ways, right? With a shortened pity though, we'll talk about this in a second. Here for the beta, okay, for the beta, there was this. I believe this should be there for launch because every game like this should have this. Pretty much, it's like you go 50 in, and by going 50 in, you pick up a guaranteed SSR character. I believe it's not of your choice. No, I believe it is of your choice, right? Yeah. No, it's not. Limited SSR character guaranteed. So maybe it's not of your choice. But this 300 is of your choice. And you have the different characters over here. You have Tosin, you have Urahara over here, you have Yoruichi and such. You have them all here. So this is like a freebie launch banner, right? That's kind of the way to say it. Over here, there was the SSR guaranteed in 80 pulls, this banner there as well. And then again, there was this banner here for stamps, which these are the things that, again, buff your characters up. So if you want to go and, let's say, buff up Tosin, this is how you're going to do it. It increases the stacks of wound inflicted by the technique Sting Shadow, mutual stab by 2, and the stacks of wound inflicted by Sting Shadow rapid stab by 3. After releasing the ultimate, if the ultimate becomes active again, tap it to release a follow-up attack, and then dealing damage equal to 2,400% of the attack and instantly inflicting 6 stacks of wound. So his kit is based on wound. Now you're increasing the stacks of wound, further increasing the stacks of wound, adding a follow-up ultimate attack again. You can see how these cards play a very big effect into making a character either garbage or like insane, correct? So that's kind of how that works. In the base banner, so for example, in the beta, who was the rate up? The rate up was Bankai Ichigo, correct? How the rates work in this game is the current rated up character is 1.84%, which I will be honest is not terrible. Gachas nowadays would be 2%, maybe less. For example, if you're going like a CN Hoyo gacha or stuff like that, 0.6% to 1.2% is the rate, and that is miserable. So 1.84 is definitely better. Not perfect, but definitely better. If you're looking at like the rest of the rates, it's 6.06% for the SR character, and then over here, because those are obviously rated up, it's a double rate, it's 3.03% for the rest. SR stamps over here are 3.03, and these are the SR stamps, and then R stamps over here. With every 10 pull, you are guaranteed an SR or higher character or weapon stamp. That is going to be how it works. Within 80 recruitments, you are guaranteed to receive at least one SSR character within 80 recruitments from the limited character pool, Protector's Resolve. And obviously, I believe the only character you can attain from 80 pulls is him, because he's the only one right active like that. Where's the rest? So rate up, any SSR you obtain is guaranteed to be the up character, Ichigo Kurosaki Bankai, when obtaining, which is nice, right? There's no 50-50, there's no 25-75 shenanigans. No, it's straight up, it's him, okay? There is a 50% chance one of the rate up characters will be Uryu or Yachiru over there, which that's there as the other part of it, right? So that's an SR character, so keep that in mind. All right, 50% chance that is one of those. Then extra rewards, R stamps as grants 40 Vanguard's attendance, fluttering attendance for an SR stamp. SR stamp is 50 of those. Then again, a duplicate SR character is 20, and then 100 for a duplicate. And those duplicates will be transferred into like any CN game, stuff like this. Pretty much you have the emblem store and you have the sigil store. And this is, again, currency that you're going to be getting, right? The guide sigil over here, and then, again, the guide emblem over here. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of how that works. But that's pretty much the main banner. That's genuinely what it looks like. Like, again, to be honest here, it's not that bad. I don't think the rates are, like, god tier, but I don't think they're bad by any means. I do think that they are pretty solid. Duplicates over here, and then shared attempts. All limited character pools share the SSR guarantee system. Guarantee attempts are tracked across all limited character pools and only reset when an SSR is obtained. So yes, you have a 50-50 carryover, but there is no 50-50 in this game. Remember that. So in this case, everything carries over, no 50-50 installed, 1.84% rates. When you get an SSR, it's guaranteed to be the rated up SSR. A lot that's kind of good to it. Over here, I don't have records yet of pulling, but that's kind of how that works here. For this banner, it's a little bit different. The drop rate is 3.18%, so much, much higher because it's supposed to be, obviously speaking. The SR ones, these are the ones on rate up. These are the base ones. You still can pull an SR character on here. You can pull an R stamp on here. 10 pull, you're guaranteed one SR, weapon stamp, or character. And 40 pulls, only 40 pulls, you are guaranteed to receive the SSR stamp. So the hardest you have to summon to a banner, theoretically, for one copy and one of this is 120 pulls. You could pull this very early because it's still a 3% chance. That's still pretty good percentages. 1%, 1.84 is still, again, not the best, but still better than most gachas out there nowadays, right? Over here, again, just talks about the weapon stamp, 50-50 chance for that. You can get some of the fluttering attendants and such, and pretty simple. That's how that one works. For the standard banner, it's a bit different as well. It's a 1.84% for all of them. So it's going to be a sub percentage per each one, but it's again a 1.84, 6%, same stuff over here. 10 recruitments, you are guaranteed to receive one SSR after 80. That's how it's going to go here. So every 80, you are guaranteeing one, but to pick the one of your choice, you have to reach 300 total recruitments. Then you can pick one of your choice. And again, you do get one guarantee within 50. So 50, then after 80, then so on and so forth until 300. Obviously with every 80 being one. That's how this banner is going to work. So for the most part, rates and everything, I don't think they're that bad. Pity system, I do not think is that bad. Same thing over here, 80 and then 40 for selecting the one you want. So if you're not trying to chase that 300, you can just select the one you want and go about it that way. But I would say for the most part, I think that they did great in sort of that system. Whether or not things change for global, this is the global version. I don't think that things are going to change. This should be what it is, and this should remain to be this case. I fully doubt that it changes because this is the beta. You're testing for the main game, so this should be exactly how they go about things. But is the currency gain good? If you're gonna ask that, I want to like deep dive that into a different video. But for now in the beta, they have so many different launch events, which we don't know if those are going to be there for launch. But first off, for here you have like the Serite check-in, which is like a decent amount of standard pulls, which is pretty nice. The Soul Reaper duty login, which gives you a bunch of like different currencies, a bunch of standard pulls. Keep in mind, a lot of these events are mainly standard pulls. Don't think they're like crazy stuff beyond that. Over here, standard pull galore, standard pull galore. Keep it going, standard pull galore. Battlefront recruit, standard pull galore. And I believe that still goes onwards from that point. And then trial here, more standard pulls. So a lot of standard pulls are given here. The currency you need to summon actually is going to be a different currency. That's going to be this over here. If I were to go to recruit, that's these ones. They're called Warfare Order. And then the currency you need is this over here, which is called Spiritual Jade. So is it free to play? I do know that there's a lot of starter content, but my curiosity is like how much is launch and if anything changes from there. But you can earn a pretty decent amount by grinding everything with like constant accumulation. We'll have to see that by launch, right? And again, like for the beta, they really didn't give too much. They really didn't give like too much to like start you off. So I wonder if there's like a reroll process that you're trying to go through. What's the reroll process? It does take a little bit of time to start before you get to summon and such. But if it's like a multi to start with, dude, this reroll process is pretty quick. If it's like a few singles, then we're talking a bunch of rerolls before you get something. So yeah, that's where it stands. All right. Hope you enjoyed the video. That's what I got for you here today. But that's pretty much just a talk about the pity system, the rate system, and everything associated. That's what the beta had. If nothing changes, that's what you're gonna have on launch. And again, is it worth it? I would say it's pretty good. I also think it's better than TSH. TSH for most players was okay. I think that was a 1.2%. This is a 1.84%. And again, I played TSH, and I know for the most part, it was 100 pity over there. It's 80 pity over here. I do think for the most part, this is much better. Both ways, like pity system and summon system. And still, that game did give a decent amount of currency and everything. This one, if equal, is 10 times better. 20 early pity, 0.6% higher rate. So, not bad.